Hey, it's Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? Enjoying a little bit of a hey tea here. I'm traveling right now. I'm down here in Shenzhen, China, where David was as well, covering the Oppo R15 event. And right before it, I was in Shanghai, covering the Xiaomi Mimicks 2S, which actually is my daily driver, and you can look forward to the full review coming pretty soon to AndroidAuthority.com. One thing we want to do today, this is called The Weekend Show, and this is something that we wanted to kind of put together just as a way of being able to talk back with you guys in the comment sections below. If you've noticed over the last number of videos, we've been asking you to comment, and we were going to respond to them either in the comment section or in a later piece of content. You're watching it right now. I'm going to bring you some responses to the comments that I had in a number of videos that I did this past week, but Lon also had a few pieces, and we're going to make sure to get the other guys in on future editions of The Weekend Show. Okay, so I just mentioned it a second ago, so why don't we go ahead and just look at some comments, some of the top comments from the Xiaomi Mimicks 2S hands-on. I prefer this design more compared to the notch one. You know what, I'm kind of inclined to agree. This full screen experience is something that the Mimicks originally kind of pioneered, and they did so by making some concessions like the front-facing camera being on the bottom. Now, that might be a little bit of an eyesore, it might be a little bit annoying to have to turn the phone around so that you can do selfies or even video call, which is something I do quite often. But when it comes to looking at the rest of the screen, everything above that little area, it's just a really fun device to use. And the Mimicks 2S, even though it's basically the same device as the original one, it's just an iterative upgrade, I have to admit, I really enjoy this. DxOMark 97. Whether or not you really believe the DxOMark review scores, it's really up to you. It does provide a bit of a benchmark early on just to kind of give you a feel of what the phone would be like in terms of the camera quality. But I have to say, I do have a video coming out with the 4K video on here, and as long as I put this on my DJI Osmo Mobile 2, because it doesn't really have OIS built in, I have to admit, the footage that came out of it was pretty awesome. This one's really interesting. I can't get the fact that this phone brand gets noticed worldwide. Like, how did it happen exactly? I heard about this brand since 2017. That's just last year. Was this brand already existed long ago? The only brands I heard of are Nokia, BlackBerry, Samsung, LG, HTC, and Apple, and then there's Extra. Actually, a little bit of a history lesson. Xiaomi has been around for quite a while, and they have been in the business of software. And if you were into Android phones maybe about 10 years ago, maybe you have flashed ROMs on old Android devices, maybe you might have come across the MIUI. The MIUI was originally Xiaomi's forward-facing software development team, and that kind of grew into everything that Xiaomi is now. They have phones, they have accessories, they have this amazing ecosystem of just so many different products, and the phones are really just one part of the entire business, but it all started with the original MIUI.
All right, let's read some comments from the MediaPad M5 and M5 Pro review, shall we? No headphone jack on a tablet equals fail, IMO. I would have to agree with you on that statement for sure, and it looks like quite a few people do as well. Especially with a tablet called MediaPad. It's a tablet made for media consumption, and you would think that a headphone jack would just come standard because you're gonna wanna listen to music and whatever else. But I will say that the awesome sounding speakers on those MediaPads do kind of make up for it, and at least they do give you an adapter. He's watching Ninja 245. Yes, I am watching Ninja because Ninja's awesome, and Ninja is a god at Fortnite. He's a god at any game that he plays, really, but he's an awesome person on Twitch, and if you're not watching him, you definitely should. Or just buy a Chromebook. You know what? I kind of have to agree with that because Chromebooks are pretty powerful. They're definitely much more powerful than Android tablets, and especially with Android apps being able to be ran on Chromebooks, it almost doesn't make sense to buy an Android tablet sometimes. So Chromebooks, you're going to get a lot more power, and you're also going to get the best of both worlds with Chrome OS and Android. Who in their right mind would choose an Android tablet? Android may make sense on smartphones, but on tablets, it's dead. Go with iPad, and I don't even like Apple. There's a lot of people out there that still want a really solid Android tablet, and it's unfortunate that there aren't that many options to pick from. The iPad is a really solid tablet though. It's probably the best tablet you can get, but some people just want that Android OS on a larger screen, and it's just unfortunate that there aren't more manufacturers producing them right now. But if you were to get one, the media pads really aren't a bad choice at all. Can you delete the pre-installed apps? I heard they take up a lot of space. Yes, you can delete most of the pre-installed apps, which is great because the media pads come with a ton of bloatware. They come with a bunch of pre-installed games, but thankfully, you can delete most of them, which is a good thing, and then you sort of have a pretty clean software experience at that point. Is it true that on this tablet you can't watch Netflix in HD? Yes, unfortunately, that is true. Right now, there's some sort of DRM issue that prevents it from playing TV shows or movies on Netflix back in HD. And right now, it sort of caps out at like 480p or something like that, something really low res. But as far as everything else like YouTube or any other source that you may be watching movies or TV shows from, you should be perfectly fine. Hopefully, the Netflix thing will be something that Huawei addresses sometime very, very soon. Well, I think that's going to be it for me in this weekend segment. I will see you guys in the next one.
I do want to talk a little bit about the Huawei P20 Pro, or rather the Huawei P20 and P20 Pro. It's good that the notch is optional. No one can complain now about it. It's kind of an ingenious way of doing it. And really, the notch doesn't bother me a whole lot. I don't like that it's becoming so common, which is why we have phones like the Mimicks 2 reminding us what the full screen experience should be like, or could be like. But honestly, on the Huawei P20, the notch is not that big of a deal for me. Wow, 20 megapixel monochrome, 40 megapixel RGB, 8 megapixel telecamera, AI to switch scenes and stabilize shots inside a slim form factor. We are in 2018, boys. I completely agree, and I think my favorite part about that is that you said it's a slim form factor. There's even a huge battery in there, and Huawei just kind of perfected their design language. S9 Plus DxOMark 99, P20 Pro DxOMark 109. RIP, Tier 1 brands in 2018. This is known as Generation Leap. We do seem to be hitting some sort of stride in photography right now when it comes to smartphone cameras. And I remember when I was really excited about the evolution of the smartphone camera, it was back when the Note 4 was coming out. And I revisited that phone when the next S device was coming out. And really, I felt like our smartphone cameras are just becoming incredible. And I feel like it's happening again. The software UI holds this phone back. Technically, you can say the same thing about Samsung's UI. Huawei copy-pasted the 10. I'm thinking you mean the iPhone 10. But the camera is so good, and you used an emoji there, that's cool. But the camera is so good, great rival for the S9 and the almighty Pixel XL2. You know what? So what if people take the same features that other people have already introduced? I mean, that's kind of the point of the smartphone game, is that some people innovate and then everybody else just improves on what has already existed. So Huawei's doing a great job, and that first part is what I mean, but the second part of this comment, where it's a rival to the S9 and the Pixel 2, I completely agree. I can't wait to put those through its paces. Bravo to Huawei for surpassing Samsung, Google, and Apple in the camera department. Camera matters much more than the iris scanner, face detection, and other useless gimmicks. You know, it's kind of funny you say that because those other quote-unquote useless gimmicks, the Huawei phone also kind of has. If it has a notch, I'm not interested. And finally, Twilight is so beautiful, anyone agree? Agree. Alright, and that should pretty much do it. This is our first time doing the weekend show, and thank you so much for watching. Yeah, if you want to have potentially your comment answered in one of our weekly shows, then you can just go to our videos and make sure you get into the comment sections and tell us what you think about that video, the product that's being presented. Maybe it's a comparison and you want to pick a side. Do whatever you wish in the comment sections down below, especially on this video. And yeah, we'll be in the comment sections responding and talking with you guys as much as we possibly can. Keep it tuned to Android Authority for that, comparisons, more reviews, and more, no matter where we are in the world, like me, for example, in Shenzhen, China. And remember that, of course, we are your source for all things Android. This is delicious.